Good morning, everyone. Big, we never have enough time to speak, so to avoid any digression and to be precise, I'd like to use sentences from big authors that would enable me to respect the timeline that is imposed to me. I'd like to start with Paul Valéry, a great author I like a lot, who in 1939 had noticed, and I quote, that the citizens among him, around him were intoxicated by the hurry. What would he say if he came back with us while we are always in a hurry and never focused? Are we still able to distinguish the reality from what is fake? The fight between fake and reality is symmetrical. There is something in fake that makes it more appealing than truth. We could argue that this strength of fake has always existed, but I would answer that yes, it has always existed, but it benefits today of new supports and new diffusion tools, and it can be spread even more easily that we don't like truth. It's often disappointing, and the strength of fake is much more pandemic than the strength of truth, as it was proved. That shows that, with a study that shows that AI is a very successful doping effect to promote fake news. I'd like now to quote Simone Weil. She said that in the newspapers there is an unavoidable coexistence of truth and lies, and there is necessarily a choice that has to be made blindly, depending on what we consider wrong. So there is a link between freedom and truth. Each one now feels free to decide what is true for himself, his own truth, and even his own personal fiction. So truth is not a constraint, something imposed that everyone should have to respect. So it raises a real question. If we give to the freedom to believe the wrong side higher value than to reality, how could our democracies resist with freedom that would be much higher than reality? I note that in our society we have a mistrust towards reality. We consider that it could be only temporary, partial, cultural, built, unreal, and so on. There is impressive deflation of the value of truth. Another author, I cannot not quote, Orwell, who in his book 1984 gives an incredible description of a world where you cannot express truth anymore. Not because the politicians of this world are the only ones to have lies, but because the language is so manipulated that the difference between reality and fiction is impossible to express. It's impossible to express reality as if it didn't have any importance anymore. Personally, I thought that only dictatorships were concerned by that. It's a severe mistake because our democracies are also exposed. They can also be victims of what Etienne KLEIN called conspirations, open conspirations. Actually, not all truth, only one that disturb you. The truth that don't disturb anyone don't have any contradiction. No one will oppose to the Pythagoras theorem. We have seen no book in the libraries as well saying my truth on the X boson. So there are some truths that don't create any controversy. On the contrary, when there is a disturbing truth, we are able to create everything in our mind to avoid believing what we don't want to believe. The science becomes a simple opinion, giving the idea that science would be a belief, among others, a kind of church, emitting opinions that the non-believers are allowed to attack and to comment. So all this is well known, but there are new things with Donald Trump. Here, with him, we have gone one step further. We are in a radical dystopia where Orwell is clearly defeated. He has an opinion on science without knowing anything, and soon he might announce us that the planet is flat, at least in some places, if it could help him stay in power. But I have one proposal to make, because my time is over, to fight that and make sure knowledge would be better known and better respected. We have to make sure that students would stay away from the screens, so that before they look for an answer on ChatGPT, they would think by themselves to realize that there is a value in solving problems that you cannot feel with machines. And there are joys that are properly human. And to finish, an incredible anagram. What is the anagram of the devalorization of reality? Answer, it is the finding of this reasoning. I'd like to let you think about that.